Hello, friends, and welcome to the 101st episode of Snap Judgments. As always, I'm Roy Rogers, and joining me on this balmy, supposedly fall evening on the East Coast of the United States is the one, the only, my friend and yours, Aaron Pulse Glazer. Pulse, my friend, how are you doing this evening?
I am hanging in there. Let's just go with hanging in there for the time being.
That is a perfectly cromulent response there, my friend. I feel very similar. I will say, because I really do want to talk about the weather in this little bit here. It's so hot on the East Coast of the United States, and it's November, and it is like literally driving me insane. Like, I cannot handle that it's 90 degrees in my apartment right now, and it is November. Like, I just can't. I can't handle
apartment living. Yeah. It's been 80 in my apartment. It's actually cool tonight here for the first night this week. I've been sweating my face off. Like I did a video with 6 decks that lasted like 23 minutes because it was so hot while I was sitting in my chair. I just like sped red every day. I was like, and then next until I was done. So yeah, I get it.
Absolutely painful week for a lot of reasons, but one of them is it does feel like the third circle of hell here. But do you know what is not hellish? Our very special guest that we have this evening. So, Aaron, who will be joining us to discuss this month's brand new cards?
We are going to kick off with our first-time guest, someone I've been dying to have on this podcast forever, one of my favorite streamers, one of the kindest people in the community, an absolute star. It is KiddilyChan. How you doing?
Hi, thank you for having me on here. I've actually never been on a podcast. I am not a podcast person, but I'm hoping to become one.
Nice. All you got to do is chat. It's nice and simple. Kidly, how can our wonderful friends find you? We don't wait till the end for plugs. People need to go find you right now.
Sure. I'm on Twitch as KiddilyChan. I'm on Instagram as KiddilyStreams, and I'm on Twitter as KiddilyChan as well, although I don't post very much.
Sure do not. Good choice for your life and sanity. We are also joined by a returning guest. It is one of my favorite Marvel Snap personalities, one of my favorite people, one of the people in Marvel Snap I give the biggest hugs to when I see. It's GamingwithFlashX. How you doing, Flash?
I am great, and he's being 100% honest about the hugs thing.
It's very true. You came all the way up for what the hell are these called? Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
Yeah. I was like, Snapcom. No, that's definitely the wrong thing.
Well, that's in
Flash,
Florida.
I mean, let's hope not. Let's hope nothing is ever in Florida. All right. Kidley, are you from Florida? Don't answer that. But
No.
Sorry, I was like, shit. Did I just shit on where she's from? I feel so bad. All right. Good. Sorry. Florida sucks. No offense to anyone who randomly loves it. All right. Flash, where can our friends find you?
Very simply, on Twitch, YouTube, and even TikTok, I'm GamingwithFlashX over there. And of course, because the Twitter X Hellscape site loves to be annoying, I have to be GWFlashX over there, which is very irritating. But yes.
It's okay. That app will die eventually. All right. Roy, take us into our next bit.
Until it dies, you can find us on Elon Musk's hell site at SnapJudgeCast. We are incredibly grateful each and every week to be the official podcasting partner of Marvel Snap Zone. They're an amazing website, the best resource for information about this game that we all love. Many of our guests, Lauren, Den, how our writers for the show, contributors to it, the site, and you should definitely check it out. And we are so incredibly grateful to be the official podcasting partner of Marvel Snap Zone. Check out the website right now. You can email us at snapjudgmentspodcast@gmail.com. We promise we're not purposefully ignoring your email. Neither of us check it, though. All right. And last but not least is the most important of our social medias, our one and only YouTube channel at Snap Judgments Pod. We're 6 out of the 7 days a week, sometimes multiple times a day. Glazer offers daily Snap takes covering everything you would want to know about Marvel Snap. Aaron, if our loyal listeners were to become loyal viewers of our YouTube channel, what would they find there now?
Me struggling to find interesting Surtur decks.
That's
like,
fair.
Did you know that they run Scar, and then they also run Cull, and then Crossbones? Really, really spicy decks. No. Yesterday I had the number 1 deck in Snap, which is not a Surtur deck, so that's pretty cool. Yesterday is also tomorrow, depending on, magic time. I don't like that illusion, sorry.
The illusion of time. All right. So, speaking of Surtur, man.
We're jumping right in, eh? Let's do it. Surtur. It's Surtur.
It's Surtur.
I believe it might also be pronounced Surt.
All right, I'm going to just call him Soda Can Man. All right, so what does this burning Soda Can Man do? He is a 3/5, 6K token season pass card. So right now you can get him directly for hot cash of your favorite currency. And the text says, after you play a card with 10 plus power, this gains +3 power. All right, Kidly, as our newest guest on the show, your thoughts about November's very hot, like the month itself right now, season pass. Senior pass.
Shows you seniors need passes off campus.
I've been having a lot of fun with it. I think it's great. So yesterday I tried, I guess one of the more traditional Surtur decks.
No one can say it now.
But I'm missing some cards for it, so I don't have like Cull Obsidian, and I don't have a couple of other of the 10 cost types that don't cost 6. Sorry, the 10 power types that don't cost 6. So I struggled with that a bit, but then I might get some flack for this, but I stuck it in the Arishem deck that I've been playing for the past like 3 months, and it's great. It's so much fun there, because I put down Surtur, and then I could do like Blob and Absorbing Man or something. Or I can just Loki out of it, and I'll have a Surtur, and then I'll Loki into someone else's Surtur deck, and I got all their stuff for cheap. I like it a lot.
Fair enough. Flash?
Yeah, all of that is true. Surtur is very good. Okay, it's like an A tier card. It's not like S tier. It's not like Agent Venom, but it is very, very good. It's very strong, and it's a good activator, right? So Agent Venom will account for more points across the board over the course of the game, especially if it's hitting Iron Man and Sage and Mystique and all those type of things. Surtur scales just individually as itself, but it has this activating effect that is unaccounted for strength-wise. Like it helps bring Scar down to 0, and that's like an uncalculation of power points that you don't, account for when you're evaluating it based on points. But it's very good, it's strong, and it helped the 10s deck go from, like, the decks that Agent Venom went in didn't need Agent Venom. They were good already. Agent Venom just took them to another stratosphere. The 10s deck needed Surtur. It was missing something, and it was just kind of hovering around. It's okay, it's fine. You can kind of play it and have fun, but it's not going to get you anywhere. Surtur took it and said, okay, this is now a meta deck. It's a good card.
Yeah, I mean, kind of that, right? Like, I think people are going a little crazy about how good it is. I think it's really good. I think it's an A tier card. People are like, this is broken, this complete, like smart people, like Safety is like, this is broken. Why would you ever play anything else? I got a message, literally Safety, I swear to God, I shit you not, just messages me, yeah, but it's not fun. Like he could fucking hear me. Literally his exact message. That is wild. Sorry.
That's funny.
Because he messaged me that and I was like, bro, just beat it. I don't understand the problem. But okay, whatever. Sorry, I'm gonna have to go into stream mode after I finish talking. My bad. So, like, a lot of, like, Sizer was like, this is the most broken deck I've ever played, and then he played it some more and it wasn't. I think it's a really good deck. I think when it works and when it beats things by so much that it feels overpowered, but you don't get bonus points for winning by more points, right? And when this wins by more points, it wins by 10 million more points. So it feels really, really good and really, really powerful, but I don't think it wins like that crazily once you're post infinite. I think it's a really good deck, and I'm happy to have this as the thena for the thena for Scar decks.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it should probably be a 3/4, just because like +3 is a lot. And I think 3/4 to make it get to just 10, so it's no longer as automatic, is probably a little bit better. But outside of that, I'm ultimately happy with it. Also, like, weird choice for a season pass card. Like, weird choice for a season pass card. If you're early series, what are you supposed to do with this?
Oof.
I'm jealous that you guys have Scar.
See,
Well,
like, yeah, that's
You just haven't been playing long enough. Season pass.
that's a great point.
Yeah, I think though. I mean, for me, this actually is what a season pass card should do because it's pretty straightforward. I mean, to me personally, this is one of the more boring season pass cards that they've released. You know, like I think Age and Venom, while I think the decks he ended up going in are, as Flash said, like pretty straightforward. At least theoretically, you have to ask yourself, what cool things can I do with Age and Venom, right? And Kate offered up so many different play patterns, right, with her sort of random what do you get, sort of the cranked up version of Nico's effect, right, that she provides. So I think that this card, which is like play 10 strength, 10 power things, and be paid off for it, is like very straightforward. But I think it's sometimes good to do that. I mean, this again, it's not a card like I'm super excited to play with. It's not really like what I would necessarily want to do in Marvel Snap, but it's a really cool card to exist. And I think setting it as a season pass card because what it says to a new player is like, oh, I want to get 10 plus power cards, right? Like that's like, if you're new, you're like, I want to get Magneto for the 6 drop. I want to get Crossbones, right? It's going to encourage people to try to get, whether it's to spend money or play more or whatever they need to up it. Like, it's like, oh, this gives you a very clear goal of what cards to acquire that doesn't require a lot of, I mean, to be honest, thought, right? On a basic level, like how to build a Surtur deck is like, whatever cheaper 10 power cards you have, you slam them in your deck. Maybe a couple 6 cost 10 power cards, and then you're good. And so I think this is, a perfectly good card to exist. I'm happy, really happy for the people who enjoy playing it, but it's not the most super interesting card.
So you know what I like about it? It loses real good to both bounce and bounce move. So that's really, really fun.
It does. It does.
Especially if you throw a U.S. agent in them.
That's fair. That is fair. This card does, but one of the other cards, this one, not so much.
All right. Any other Surtur thoughts?
Surtur. I think the last thought for me is just I think it'll be even better once people start to find homes that aren't all in, right? They'll take a small package like Surtur and like 2 other cards that may be activated, maybe 3 cards that you would put in your deck anyway. And if it gets to 3/8, 3/11, you're happy. You're very happy with that, and then you can do your other game plan as well. And as we've learned, taking small packages and multiple packages and putting them together is a very strong thing to do in Marvel Snap.
Fair enough. Okay. It is Frigga time.
Frigga, all right. 3/3, Series 5, 6K tokens card. She has the on reveal of add a copy of the last card you played to your hand, if able. Flash, thoughts, feelings about Thor's mama?
So, to all my wrestling fans out there, cheap pop. If you check out my last YouTube video where I spoke about Frigga, I don't love this card. I get it. And a lot of people are going to find things to do. And I've seen people playing it in High Infinite and they're doing some fun things with her. And it's great. And I saw the torch stuff and the bounce and the this and the that. Cool. It still feels very clunky. And those things are still very beatable. And she's cost 3. And it's just like, it just feels awkward most of the time from an application standpoint. Is it a fun thing to do? Yes. But, I just kind of have it hovering around the C. Does it end at B somewhere? Probably, maybe. But I just don't love this card. Nothing about this card. As I was playtesting and I was playing with Surtur and I was doing my stuff on stream, I had no desire to play with this card. I'm just like, I have it, but okay. It doesn't feel like it needs to be where it's at for those decks. It doesn't make those decks outstandingly better. And I know that's not the benchmark for grading a card, but it's fine, I guess. I don't love it. I just don't love it.
Kidley?
So I didn't get this card. I was thinking about it, and I guess still thinking about it. I don't know what to do with it. I've been playing for like the past 2 days this season. I think I've only run into it a couple of times, and once was with a bounce move deck where they made Human Torch really big and then gave themselves another one, but then I think they ran out of turns and didn't get a chance to play it again. And then the other time I saw it was someone did like Cassandra Nova and then got a copy of it. But I agree, it does seem a little clunky and off-tempo. I don't know if it's that popular. I don't know what to do with it. Open to suggestions.
So the decks it goes in are just weird, I think is the problem. Outside of Bounce Move. Bounce Move is the obvious home. I thought I was clever suggesting Bounce Move, then Sizer had a Bounce Move, and Komi's had a Bounce Move. And like 17 people were like, here's my slightly different by 2 cards Bounce Move. Turns out that Kidley's answer is actually completely correct. Frigga is, you have 1 turn too few to use in Bounce Move. So Sizer is much smarter than I am. And you know what Sizer did? If you have 1 too few turn, what card do you add?
Magic.
Yep.
Oh my
He just added magic to it, and now the card is phenomenal in that deck. So Frigga is my moral dilemma card. If you can be good enough with the very, very narrow and specific decks it's good with, it's completely freaking silly strong. And I can tell everyone that, and I'm going to end up telling everyone that, right? But I'm officially big enough that if I tell no one to buy this card, I can probably convince like a good 2,000 people to not buy this card. And then they're going to buff it, and then I get to profit. I'm not going to do that. But, because like literally, I'm saying this on air. But like, this is the kind of card that I feel like they buff to like a 2/3 or a 3/5 or something. And I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe you did that. And then this is completely broken. 3 cost is clunky. The card's problem is that 3 cost is clunky. You really have to use it on turn 4 or 5 for it to be good, not turn 3 almost always. Although, let me just tell you, if you don't like losing to Scar deck and to Scar decks and you own US Agent, if you go US Agent Frigga, US Agent, you just won. Unless they're running Luke, that game is over. There's like nothing they can do. So there's stuff to do with it. I think it's going to be incredible. This feels like one of those cards where it just like takes time. Like the first week of Anti-Venom, like the first like 5 days of Anti-Venom, people are like, this is strong, but this has no decks. And then like the last 2 or 3 days, same thing for Misery. I think Frigga is one of those cards. And that's what I'm most excited for.
Yeah, I agree. I think to me, it's sort of the opposite response to Flash again, where like this card's super interesting to me. Right, like Surtur's like got a straightforward like play pattern, play 10 strength cards, blah 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 blah. You get what you want. This is like asking you to do a bunch of weird stuff. Whether that's play magic, which is like the most straightforward, and some sort of like surfer shell that's like surfer this on turn 6, and then another 3-drop and surfer again on turn 7. Like it's definitely that's like the most simple, basic way to think about this card. But there's lots of cool things that Glazer just said that sort of US Agent play pattern. There's like lots of stuff because this card says draw the last card you played, right? Like, and drawing a card is really effective. So it makes sense that it's clunky because drawing cards is really good. Like the cards that draw you cards on rate, like Nico, basically is an effect, or Kate again, are all really, really powerful. And this lets you specifically target what card you want. And it just asks so many questions of you that I'm really, really, really excited to see where this card goes. Like, I think it's super interesting. And I'm probably the one that I'm most likely to buy this month is probably Frigga. And that also partially has to do with what the spotlight caches are for this card. Hey, Red Guardian is in here, friends. This is the first time Red Guardian has been back since he was first in the caches, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't have Red Guardian, so I'm like, ooh, do I want to open for Frigga? So I don't know. So Kidley, thoughts about this month, or this week's rather, spotlights? Is it worth opening? If you want Frigga, is it worth opening for these? What do you think of the art? Whatever.
I think they're so pretty. I have Red Guardian. I would highly recommend it. It's so much fun. And it's like really satisfying as well to play, especially if someone's got like Iron Man or something. So I think that's good if you don't have Red Guardian. I don't know about Copycat, because didn't they change it a bit as well? So now it doesn't steal, it just copies.
Mm-hmm. So that traditional, that mostly only matters if something shuffles your deck, though. So unless you're playing it in a Darkhawk deck, it doesn't usually matter.
But yeah, I think... go ahead.
Sorry, no, please, go ahead.
Oh, I think they look really cool. This Copycat looks really cool. I might want it.
It's super cool, Copycat. Right? I'm big fan of it.
Mr. Flash?
This is a great week. If you don't have any of these cards, right? Copycat is still very good. Kind of out of usage at the moment, but still a very good card, very strong. Can't tell you how many times I hit an Iron Man with Copycat, and that just feels like game swinging, right? Red Guardian is one of the best tech cards in the game, has been since it came out. Again, it kind of fluctuates based on the meta where it lands, but that's like all the tech cards. Red Guardian is just very good. You should want that card. This is a great week to pull keys if you don't have Red Guardian or Copycat. If you happen to hit Frigga in the process, whether you want her or not, you'll take it. But you definitely want, Red Guardian and Copycat, in my opinion. And I like the variants too. Copycat variant is nice. The Red Guardian, it's giving those MCU vibes a little bit, right? And I like the Luchador Red Guardian, which is the one I have. So I'm a fan of the Luchador variants.
You're all missing the importance of this Red Guardian variant, and I'm very disappointed. There's 4 Marvel Snap cards that have beards, and this is one. And it's very important to that Marvel Snap cards actually have beards. I don't know why Marvel thinks no one has facial hair outside of weird little goatees. Yeah,
there's not that many superheroes with facial hair.
Make some villains with facial hair. We need some facial hair in this game. It's really disappointing.
Ultimate Spider-Man.
Right, that's a great point. So. Jesus.
Yeah. All right, well, Red Guardian has a beard, and thus this is my preferred Red Guardian variant.
That's fair. What do we think of this Frigga art? I'm not very fond of it, but the face kind of is gonna haunt my nightmares tonight. I don't know, but what do you all think about this Frigga art?
I think it's fine. I just personally, I don't think it's as good as Victor Faro.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as good as that, and that's in the shop for 1,200 gold. So
yeah, I bought that.
It's pretty. I like it, but for some reason, you know how each card has a different font for the name?
Mm-hmm.
I find the Frigga font so goofy.
Yep.
Now
and I can't get over that. I think that's also why I haven't really sprung for the card, because I'm it's kind of like Comic Sans bubble letters, but it looks a little goofy to me.
I mean, it's supposed to be wings on the side, but it looks like just really weird mohawks.
Wow. Now I'm never going to unsee this.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
This Copycat variant is the variant of the week, if we're not counting Red Guardian Spirit, though.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, let's move on to... let's press the right button. Let's move on to Malekith.
Malekith, everyone's favorite MCU villain. All right, 4 cost, 6 strength, Series 5, 6k tokens. On reveal. Excuse me. Add a 1, 2, or 3 cost card from your deck. Here, it reveals at the end of the game. So question, do you see it? This was one of the questions when we were doing the preview of it that we were wondering, has Marvel Snap, has Second Dinner said whether or not the person who plays
the person who plays the card Malekith can see what card they play.
Okay. Okay. So, Kidley, thoughts, feelings, hot takes about this MCU villain who's played by everybody's least favorite of the new Doctor Who's?
I'm just not convinced. Because I have to leave a space open. And then it's not even going to be that powerful, potentially.
When you play it, you'll know exactly what it gets. Right? When you play it, it'll immediately take that space up. So you don't have to leave it open. It happens, it's on reveal, so it'll pop that card.
Still, though, it's like Jubilee, but with delayed gratification. I don't know. I'm not convinced.
Fair.
That's a great way of describing that. Jubilee with delayed gratification. I like that a lot. Look, I was flaming this card, right? And then, the other night, and Not My Dance came in, he rated me, and he came on stream and we had a discussion. We had like a 10-minute conversation while he was trying to sell me on this card. I understand the deck thinning, right? That's a thing, right? And as somebody who desperately misses old America Chavez, I get it. All right. But I just don't love there are plenty 1, 2s, or 3s that you're like, if this pulls it, you're great. I think this card might end up being fine, but it's going to require very specific, in my opinion, it's going to require very specific deck building application, because you just don't want it to pull any 1, 2, or 3 that happens to be in your deck. You generally want it to pull something semi-specific, right? Because if this pulls like, I don't even know what a good example is. Iceman, right? That's a great example, right? What's that doing for you at the end of the game other than taking up a spot on your board, a 1, 2 that absolutely does nothing at that point, right? Because Iceman revealing at the end of the game is useless. You know what's funny is that watching the dev video made it worse, because one of the cards they showcased this using with was Cassandra Nova, and that is the worst possible card to reveal. And Limbo was on the board. That's the worst possible card you could show people to reveal at the end of the game. That's like what? It was like a 3/3. It's absolutely useless. I don't love this card. Let's just put this out there.
Clearly.
Next, go to somebody else.
I love this card and think it might end up being the best of the month long term. I think it has like 1 or 2 clear deck applications. I think like Sarah decks really, really enjoy this. Things that are running like a Ms. Marvel, where you can play it at the end of the game and like you've only got a few 2s and 3s. It's like Red Guardian or Shadow King. I'm fine with either of those, right? I think name of the card now gone. Oh, Ajax decks are going to really, really love this, where like this gives you an extra shot at Hazmat, and the other like 2s and 3s that those run. Like the only bad hit in that kind of deck would be like a Ghost Spider type card, right? Or like as Luke Cage, you're happy to hit, right? You wouldn't run Mobius in that version, right? But like you could run a Ghost there to lose Prio for your Hazmat type nonsense. And if you do that, like you're a little sad that you're not getting your Ghost ability, but you just got a 4/11. That's a lot of stats in the board for 4 energy. I think that like this is going to have really good homes. I think this is going to be one of those deck building puzzles. I personally, obviously, really like deck building puzzle cards, right? Partially because I need deck building puzzle cards to have content. It's sort of what I do. So like Surtur is killing me, right? Like even if it's really good, it's just like it's the same 3 decks over and over again. And like now I'm just like, how do I share 3 decks a day? I go, oh wait, this one has Pixie. That's interesting. There is a wild one. Jet put Surtur in Phoenix Force.
Force.
Which is just utterly absurd. But like Malekith will find cool brews. There will be things to do with it. And like I'm suspicious that the answer is just you run this with Shadow King, Hazmat, and Red Guardian. Right? And like that's the quote unquote interestingness of the brews. But if there is more than that, then this card is going to be very, very, very good. Or even if that is consistent, this is going to be very, very, very good.
That's fair. Also, Alioth and Cosmo aren't going anywhere anytime soon. So that's problematic.
Yeah. But like, if they're putting their Cosmo on your Malekith lane, are you that sad? Like, that's where they're choosing to Alioth, right? Like, oh no, you got my ghost. Right? Like, okay,
sure.
Thanks.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm closer to Flash here.
You know what you could do with this? Grandmaster.
Well, yes.
You Grandmastering the Malekith?
No, you play Malekith and it pulls Grandmaster.
Oh my god.
And then at the end of the game, second Malekith.
I think you're lost in the sauce, bro. I think you're lost in the sauce.
I love the sauce. Sauce me up. Call me spaghetti. Call me Frigga font.
Oh my god. The big problem with this card, as I said, I'm closer to Flash, is I think the deck building cost of the 1, 2, and 3 drops that you want to play, because like a lot of the one people want to play, like Iceman's a great example of this, right, are proactive, right?
Mhm.
Or they're like Kate and you want the cards from it, or they're Mobius, right? Or even Shadow King, which like, yeah, Shadow King randomly ending up on whatever but the Malekith main lane might not be the best lane for Shadow King. Like you want to play that by choice, right? So you need a very specific narrow set of 1, 2, and 3 cards. And the question is like, do you like the tension there is super interesting, but I wonder if once people figure it out, the decks end up being as interesting as that tension, or not as interesting as the tension seems, would be the way I put it, right? It's like you want the reactive, tempo positive, 1, 2, and 3 drops, like Luke Cage. Sure. Okay. Malekith pulling a Luke Cage. Cool. You paid 4 for 2 bodies. And yeah. All right. So again, I think this card is one of their better Hearthstone designs that they've done in a while, but it's definitely not as interesting, I think, as it says on the tin, would be the way I put it.
I'm all in on the tin.
It's Christopher Eccleston, by the way, who plays.
Oh, he's not. I did not like that season.
All right, so Spotlight Caches. All right, we got Thena and Valentina. Kiddly, what do you think about this week's Spotlight Caches for 11/12?
I think I'm going to try for these because Malekith is just so pretty in that one. It's like an evil kind of pretty. But I also want a variant for Thena and Valentina, because I have the regular ones, but I don't have any variants for those. And I like Valentina. I liked it more a couple months ago. I think I was doing like Loki and then Valentina, or Valentina and then Loki. I don't use it as much now, but she looks pretty cool in there. She's like giving us a stern stare down. I want that one. And I haven't figured out a great deck for Thena. I know that so many people have been playing it. I couldn't seem to get it. But eventually I'll get it, and then I'll have a cool variant to get it.
Flesh?
This week is, if you don't have Thena, then yeah, you're gonna want to pull this week, because Thena is still a very strong card in Marvel Snap, and is a strong archetype, right? That mid-range style of deck is just a strong archetype. Agent Venom, until otherwise, if it gets nerfed, it's still just a strong card to play in Marvel Snap within that archetype. Valentina is still, honestly, I think Valentina is underrated. I think she goes in certain builds that can be fun, but I don't think she's a bad card, but I wouldn't pull specifically based on the fact that whether or not you don't have Valentina or not. When I'm pulling this week, I will be happy if I can get the Thena variant before I get Malekith, because I would prefer the Thena variant over Malekith as a card.
Can I just thank God this is being recorded? I'm gonna join all of your streams. Be like, can we replay the tape here? Can we replay the tape here?
This is gonna make me eat crow, I'm sure. Listen, I don't think it's a D tier card. I just think it's gonna require it's gonna be a little narrow at first, and it'll settle out hopefully somewhere nice. But I'm content creator, so I'm gonna have all the cards anyway. But it's fine. If you need Thena, then yeah, go ahead and gamble away. If not, if you have Thena already, you can probably skip this week. Is my recommendation.
Thena is the most important card this week. Even if Malekith is good, it's not going to be Thena good. This Thena variant is awesome. I have the last Thena Spotlight, so I don't need this one. But I also don't have a Valentina, and she's one of the last 2 or 3 cards in the whole game that I don't have a variant for. Also, because the variant for Agony? Why does Agony have no variants? That's unacceptable. But I need a Valentina variant, so I'm going to open, and if I get Thena, cool. I have Gold and Rainbow Crackle on Thena, so I might get this just so I can be like flip between the Gold Rainbow Crackles. I have 4 God Splits, which is absurd for my collection, but still, that seems really, really important. Malekith, I have the same exact take on every spotlight this month. I feel really bad for whoever this artist is because I like the Victor Faro ones that are just in the shop better for every single card, so I'm just going to buy those.
Agreed.
But I need this Valentina variant, and if I get Thena on the way, so be it. I'm perfectly happy to get Malekith. Get Thena. Valentina's fine in some Sarah builds, but like not a required card.
I really like this Thena. I think it's the second best Thena art. I think that the casual Thena is low-key the best, one of the best variants in the whole game.
Because it's got your wife energy.
I'm just saying, it's a great variant. But this is also a good one. I don't have Valentina, but I do have Thena, so I probably won't open as much as I say as I like this variant. I tend not to just open for art. So definitely, I think I'm going to burn my keys this week and save them next week. But speaking of the following week, all right, Fenris Wolf. All right, Fenris Wolf is a 2/3 Series 5 6K tokens with the ability activate. Oh, activate returns. Been a while. All right, resurrect.
Been a while.
The highest power discarded or destroyed enemy card to your side of this location. Flash. Is Fenris Wolf a good dog? And or is this the hella hate card people have been looking for the last 2 years?
Christ almighty, God, I hope so. This is a lot of people's best card of the month, right? I have it like second. But a lot of people's best card of the month with good reason. A strong case for this card is the fact that it costs 2. That is amazing, right? So you can get this down early and then continue on with the rest of your game plan. It's going to pair well with Shang-Chi naturally, right? It opens up some deck building, some more flexibility for using stuff like Moon Knight and et cetera, right? Now your opponent playing, and I'm a huge discard player, right? So now I'm looking at this card and I'm like, great. So everybody playing this against me, you know, if something leaves the board, I'm like, great. They're just gonna bring that back on their side. That's not fun for me. Yes, but I do think this is so counter hella, right? Because you're like, yeah, go ahead, keep discarding those big things. Yeah, sure, death, infinite, great, go ahead. I'll just go ahead and take that. Thanks. Like that is, oh, that's gonna feel so great. Just another chink in the hella armor is fantastic. It makes me so happy. This card's gonna be great. It's fantastic. It's A tier. Anyhow, go ahead. Who's next? Kidley?
I think this one's going to be so good, especially because it's activate. So once you put it down, I don't think there's anything that can really stop you from doing anything about it, right?
Red Guardian.
As long as you hit activate by the end. But I like it. I think that plus the one less card that Hellcow now discards will definitely be good up against the Hella decks that I was encountering a lot last month. I was suffering trying to beat some of those. But also just like if you want to Shang something at the end and then it'll come back, that's wonderful. You don't really have to wait until the very end to Shang. You could just use Shang as you see fit, especially with the cards now that are all like over 10 power. So I'm excited for this one. I want to get this one. I do think that the font is goofy again.
Oh no. It's definitely goofy.
I like the shape of it, but the eyeball in the wolf, the O of the wolf, it's giving like CBS News. You know?
It's definitely bad. Kidley is 100% on the font watch
God
here.
Damn it.
Can we just have like a font watch every week?
All right, real
like,
quick,
at least
before you say your opinion, Aaron.
Oh, okay.
Have they said how this interacts with Apocalypse and other cards?
No,
I was just about to say
it's extremely unlikely that it pulls Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't imagine it would. Same thing with like Deadpool.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I don't like it. I know everyone else is going crazy. Like, I'm literally I think the only person in the whole freaking community who doesn't really like this card. Like, I've said this to everyone. Everyone's like, you're crazy. You're crazy. You're crazy. I just think it's going to be clunky. I think it has a home in some decks, right? Like, I don't think they release bad cards. Or very rarely do they release bad cards. Fasto still exists. But,
you were all wrong about that one.
Yeah, we were all totally wrong about it. So I could be wrong about this, and everyone else could be wrong about this. And well, we're gonna find out in a few weeks. But I don't think there's much here. I think you can build a whole deck around this, but you're gonna find that like that deck doesn't exist if you don't see the wolf. And I don't think this is Scream where it makes it an S tier deck. So I don't think you want to do that. And I think if you're just throwing it in decks, like you may be getting like if you're lucky, you can get like a demon out of it, right? Like you can get like a 2/9. But I feel like a lot of the time, I think it'll shift the meta, right? Like but just I feel like I mean I guess if people are just like I'm just still gonna run my Surtur stuff, you'll be happy and this will be really great. But if this comes out and you're still running Surtur stuff and just going haha Surtur when they play Fenris Wolf, you kind of deserve to lose your cubes. I just feel like that deck sort of goes away at that point, and then like this is just like what are you doing with this? You're playing a counter deck that has nothing to counter and doesn't really do anything else of any real power. So I could be wrong. I want it to be good because it's a doggy, and like doggies should be good in card games. But like that's why werewolf is good, right? Because good dogs. But I don't know. I got nothing for Fenris Wolf.
Does it have room in Sarah?
Yeah. Sarah can find space. The problem is Sarah doesn't really run Shang anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
like Sarah's still beating the crap out of Surtur without like the number one deck right now is the Sarah deck, and it's not running Shang-Chi. It just doesn't care. It's just like you know what, Shadow King's good enough, and then I can just like run a U.S. agent and some shit. And like, oh no, they're running Luke Cage. Well, you have Rogue and like whatchamacallit and Red Guardian and stuff, and you're just saying, all right, I got that lane that way. I can win a lane with the monkey. Let's have a great day. Because they have to like sort of foreshadow their power, right? And you don't, and then you just win. Maybe they could still get you a Cosmo, but like it's a pretty freaking good matchup. You Killmonger on 3 if they've played a 1. It's just like I hope you weren't planning on culling or crossbonesing because now you don't have like you're not actually ahead in places. It's not that complicated. Yeah, I don't know. Like everyone's telling me I'm wrong, so maybe I'm wrong. But like my immediate gut reaction is they print stuff like this. This is Fastos, right? Where it's just like this is big and flashy and looks like it's gonna be really strong. And then in practice, it's just like one too many steps.
I think what makes this card potentially more powerful than Fastos
activate
is the activate. Yeah, the fact that you have the control. Yeah, it's that simple. I think that's what gives it the possible upside of Glazer being completely wrong, because you know that when Aaron has an opinion out of step with everyone, he's either so wrong that it makes everyone else look like geniuses, or he's so right that it makes him look like he's brilliant. So, there's no in between when Aaron has a polarized opinion. So I'm interested to see where this card lands. I think it's, I've been more bullish in previous episodes, and I remain kind of bullish, but I think it is a little hard to predict because I think this card's going to be good. One, if Hala is still playable, because you could just it's like free upside. And
Hala
then
just goes away.
And then 2 is is playing enough enablers for this without making your deck all about this worth it? And if those 2 things are true, I think this card's going to be powerful. But if they both fall away, I think this card will rot in your digital binder. But it will look beautiful while doing so, or will it? Kidley, thoughts about this week's Spotlight Caches 11-19?
So if I use a key to get Fenris Wolf, I'm probably not going to be able to get the variant as well. But the variant looks pretty cool, aside from the CBS Eyewitness News eyeball going on in the font. Annihilus, it's okay. Werewolf by Night, I think I would try to get. Also because I don't have that card. So I guess I'd get the regular one, and then I wouldn't get the pretty one. But I like that. It looks like he's a Disney character.
He looks so confused. Why does he look confused? Like he's not like pouncing on you. He's like scared and jumping. Like ruh-roh, Scooby. Like that's this variant. Like this is the first one I've disagreed with you hard on variant wise.
Okay, let's see it.
Oh, Flash. Sorry.
No, you're good. I This is an interesting week. The artwork, Fenris Wolf, love the Fenris Wolf. The Nihilus is, we have better ones. Werewolf, same. We have better werewolf variants. And now that you've said what you said about the artwork, I can't unsee it. Thank you for that. But the werewolf stuff, yeah, I mean, we have the Dan Hip is very good out of that album art, right? And the there's a couple of other ones, the Night Forge. The werewolf has so many good ones, right? The old classic one. Werewolf is by night has great variants that is better than this one. Same with Annihilus. But like I said, the Fenris was very good. This is an interesting week if you're deciding what to do with your key, what you do with your spotlight keys, because like Annihilus is, even in the decks that Annihilus goes in, it's a replaceable card. Like you could just play Lady Deathstrike or Cersei, which a lot of people are doing anyway. Werewolf by Night is not even a card that Bounce always uses anymore. So it's just kind of there. It can be used, but it's not the go-to option. It's not the best deck version, build of that deck. You hope you get your Fenris Wolf before you start pulling the other things out of this, because you don't necessarily want the other things unless you like desperately want Werewolf or Annihilus. You're like, couldn't see that you do though. But so you're pulling for Fenris, and then otherwise you're just kind of out of there. Hope for the one tap.
I like the Annihilus. It's not. I mean, Annihilus is one of those characters that, like, because his design is so striking, there's like a million good variants. So it's just sort of like another one for the pile. Definitely the Werewolf by Night, not really understanding what it wants to be. I also can't unsee that, whether it's supposed to be scary or goofy. It's definitely been ruined for me. The Fenris Wolf actually looks like a Werewolf by Night. Like, that does not look like a wolf to me. That looks like a werewolf. Like, I actually like think that should be a Werewolf by Night variant. Like, I mean, there's not a lot of iconic Fenris Wolf art that people are like, oh yeah, I really want, remember this issue of Thor with Fenris Wolf? No, they just remember him mostly as the dog that gets beat up by Hulk in Ragnarok. And so,
good scene.
It is a good scene. This is kind of, to me, feels like the spotlight week of like cards that used to rule the meta. Mm-hmm. And like maybe like this time last year, everyone would have been all about this Annihilus Werewolf by Night 2-pack. But I think now they're kind of played out as cards. I know Werewolf is still powerful in some shells and bounce and all that kind of stuff, but it's definitely nowhere where it used to be. And Annihilus is definitely, as someone who's played a lot of Annihilus, definitely not where he once was. So yeah, this to me is a firmly midweek.
Yeah, I keep waiting for Annihilus and Werewolf to come back, and I don't think it's happening. I think printing Scream finally killed Werewolf off, completely. Because, let me just tell you, I had an opponent play Scream on 4 after I played Werewolf, and that felt real bad.
Rip you.
Like, yeah, it's just like, ooh, I played an on-reveal card. Oh shit, I just gave them 2 power and lost 2 power. What the hell? Oh no, I can't play on-reveal cards. Oh no, that's my whole deck. And that was the end of that. Annihilus is now an anti-venom card, I'm fairly convinced.
True.
Like, I think Annihilus with Annihilus, Cersei, anti-venom, Sentry is like a real package. That makes a lot of sense in some decks, but I don't know if it's going to be meta ever. They seem to have just pushed the power down enough that it's like we had almost a year. Like, Annihilus came out last November and was good basically for like 6 straight months. It was one of the best cards in Marvel Snap. And then like Junk was good for another few months after Annihilus was good. Like, Junk just stopped being really great last season. And I think they're probably just going to let Junk be bad for the foreseeable future after like so long of it being really, really good. And I feel like the community is fine with that, so I don't expect Annihilus to get any real major buffs or pumps coming soon. While Werewolf is beset by a different S tier card, and you know how I think about Fenris Wolf, so while it kills me to not recommend the week with 2 doggies, I can't do it.
Well, one's technically a man. He looks goofy.
Don't you man shame my doggy.
I can't unsee it now. It looks like Shaggy dressed up as Scooby-Doo.
Yes, exactly. Wow. Sorry, I broke this variant for everyone. if you haven't seen it, because like if you're listening on one of the podcast catchers, please go check out this variant. You will be so grateful that you did.
All right. Let's bring it home for our spotlight caches, which are our final one of the month. Gorr the God Butcher, one of the most popular recent Thor villains, part of a controversial Thor movie that came out a couple of years ago. We've got, what is he in Marvel Snap? He is a 6 cost, -1 strength. Oh, what? Series 5, 6K tokens, ongoing, +2 power for each on reveal card in play. Kiddly, I think it is your turn to start us off. What do you think about Gorr the God Butcher, and why does the Gorr the God Butcher not have pants?
Because he has a spider penis. Sorry.
I'm excited for this one. I just really like on reveal cards. I am excited to see that kind of come back a lot more. I mean, the deck that I kind of like started off with was Tiger, Ironheart, Odin, and I don't know if that's as many on reveal cards as I would need to play for this to work, but I would stick it in there. I want to try it. I think it'll be fun. The card itself looks terrifying. The character looks scary, but it'll be fun.
Flash?
Gorr the God Butcher is my top card for this month. This card is going to hit absurd levels of power, and if it's no surprise, I like big things. I like the big cards. I like the big scaling things. Right, as a former Magic player who was a black player, but I'm also a green player that just loves elves and +1 counter, +1 counter, love scaling, and I love big power cards.
And everyone, this is the last time Flash was on the podcast. It was nice having you. Thanks for being a regular guest. A green player?
Yeah, I liked green. Green elves.
There's no such thing as a green player.
Elves. This one shows Glazer's brief foray into Magic Gathering play. By the way, he played a lot of green in draft. I just want to be clear here.
I'll play anything in draft. It's draft. You draft what's open. You don't draft what you want.
That's fair. I mean, like I said, black is my main color, but green elves is my I love it so much. Anyway, Gorr is going to hit absurd levels of power. And then not even the fact that you can play with Ravonna. You can do Mr. Negative stuff if you really want to. But you don't have to do that stuff. This is just, and it's the single hard, big power counter for bounce. Not it's trying to do Shadow King and Shang-Chi stop bounce from doing what it wants to do, namely Shadow King or Cosmo. This is okay, you have a bunch of on-reveal stuff. I got on-reveal stuff. I have one card that's going to clear whatever your lane is because I probably already have some sort of power in a singular lane. I have a singular lane winning card at my disposal is a very strong thing to do in this game. There are so many, I don't know what the percentage is. I'm not Lauren. I haven't done the math on how many on reveal cards are actually in the game, but I know it's a large percentage. This card is going to be very strong. It's going to hit stupid numbers of power just by using the 6 and putting it on the board.
Right.
Oh, you want me to go here? I think the -1 strength to me is a huge signal that they had trouble balancing this card. And that tells me it at least has some potential. I think sort of tall spectrum being the payoff for on reveal is super interesting. I think the previous on reveal payoff card was Wong, right? So, but it does a very different thing than Wong. It sort of goes tall rather than wide. It's not really a combo card the way Wong is. So it's sort of creating this all-in archetype for on reveal, which I think is super cool. I think that this card is going to end up being pretty powerful, particularly because it is two-sided. Whether or not that leads to it being one of the best cards in the game, I don't know. giving
it's null for on reveal cards.
It's null for on reveal cards, but well, yeah, null's also an ongoing, right? So so it's null for on reveal cards. Like null, I think it powers up. I think it's better than null actually in Mr. Negative, particularly Mr. Negative that isn't playing Arlim Zola. I think maybe you get away from Arlim Zola with this card, and because I think it's a good plan B for a Mr. Negative deck that doesn't draw Mr. Negative. And so I'm very bullish on this card. I'm not at the point with like Flash that I think this is like the best card of the month. I think that that's probably still going to end up being Soda Can Man himself, but I still think this is a super fun card. I think it hits the sweet spot between being a mid-range, small package kind of card to a all-in card in a way that I think is really fun. So
I hope it's more than just a negative card. I suspect it might end up being just a negative card. I've tried to theory craft a bunch of shells, and I've had a lot of trouble coming up with what actually makes sense to get enough on reveals going. Especially if my opponent's counter to this is I played a 4/10 because they're not playing any. They're not playing any on reveals in that deck. Like I believe the correct answer is 0, outside of occasional Goliath, which is a different problem all itself. So like that means every on reveal has to come from your side, right? And you have 11 other spaces, so that would be a 22 but -1, so a 21 power card, right? Which would be amazing, but how the fuck do you get an on reveal in every other spot on the board? So I feel like it should be reasonably easy to get this to pretty big, but pretty hard to get it to broken big outside of negative. Where if you started with 6 power, right? Like now all of a sudden it's just through the roof. I have not heard this anywhere, but there's like, I don't know if people forgot this or what, but Bast and Agent Venom are still cards. And if you can start this with 3 or 4 power, right? And that's an extra on reveal that you played as you're starting with 3 or 4 power, that seems like it's going to be really, really strong. I think this card's going to be very, very good. 6 drops are really, really hard to be good at Marble Snap, is my concern. Like, I think there's a reasonable argument that at paying 6, Goliath is the only really good 6 drop in the game right now. Maybe Magneto. Like every other 6 drop is good because you can play it for less than 6. If it's good at all. And like, or like hyper specific, right? Like Null's good in exactly 1.5 decks, right? Like that kind of thing. Galactus is terrible and we're not going to pretend it's good on this podcast. But like Hell is good in exactly 1 deck, that kind of thing. Can this be the next 6 drop that's good? Maybe, but like I remember Red Hulk, and I'm not sure if I even hope so, because if it is, it's so much better than all the other 6 drops that it's probably a problem. I've had a lot of trouble. This is the hardest card of the month for me, because like if this is really good, the game breaks for a little while, and if this isn't really good, it's totally unplayable because it's a 6 drop. Outside of negative, where it's just definitely a really good card.
Or Ravonna.
So I don't know if it's good with Ravonna. Because, like, what are the other cards Ravonna wants? Iron Man, Mystique, none of that triggers this, right? Like, Thena. What?
Sage.
Yeah, you got, like, 2 or 3. But, like, Gorr's not good with 2 or 3 on reveals, right? Like, you need your deck to be fairly dedicated if you're going to play this.
Correct.
But, like, this doesn't hate being run with Mystique and Iron Man, but now am I really running a Ravonna deck or am I running a negative deck? Like, Magic really helps this. Kate Bishop loves this. There's cards. There's stuff, right? I just, like, so much of the stuff that this seems to go with isn't on reveal. But this has to go with on reveal that it keeps breaking my brain. So, we're going to find out.
He's really hard to look at.
Well, look at this weird version instead.
The longer I look at it, it's just, oh no.
All right, what do you think, Kidley, of this 11/26 Spotlight caches?
I mean, I actually prefer this Gorr. This Gorr has a more defined panty line, which I appreciate.
Me too.
She's great.
The other one, it was sus. I don't know.
No
I like
spider
Legion a
penis in
lot.
this one.
No.
Spider penis is such a weird life choice, though.
I don't like it.
Me neither.
I feel like I would have to use extra keys just to get the Gorr variant because I can't look at the regular Gorr.
So I'm gonna DM you the Victor Faro 1,200 gold one because it's got even less of a defined spider penis. You need to see this. So
Oh goodness.
here you go. That's what that is.
And that's what
Like,
got
it
this
is-
episode demonetized. All right.
I mean,
So let's talk about
Whatever.
a different variant. Kidley, Legion and Havoc. What do you think?
Legion is so pretty. I really like it. Legion looks like it belongs in the MoMA or something like that. And then Havoc is okay. But Legion, I think, is the standout for me for this batch.
I agree. This is they're both giving that abstract art, vibes. That more so Legion than Havoc, but they're both kind of giving those vibes, right? They're very nice artwork. I do prefer
and Flash is now playing the part of Flash will be Borat. Very nice artwork.
Very nice. How much?
All right, go ahead. Sorry, early 2000s references. Let's continue.
I do think this Gorr obviously is better than the Spotlight. I mean, the Spotlight, the base art, naturally. This is a good week for you as a player to use keys.
Wait,
Legion
really?
is still, I mean, in my opinion, at least,
Why
right?
do you
'Cause
need
want-
Havoc?
Well, aside from Havoc, we still want Legion, but Havoc, look,
Okay.
Havoc has case usage where Havoc is still, I think, since its inception, has been an underrated card in the game, right? It can be played, but most people steer clear of it. But that, in my opinion, does not necessarily make it a bad card. Do I play it often? No, but that doesn't make it. I've seen it done, and I've seen it used.
I swear it's good. I don't play it, and no one else plays it. But
Hey, look, I've seen people do it, and I've seen people like, "Hey, try this," and I'm like, "Wow, this feels good." But Havoc is fine. You don't necessarily want to use keys for Havoc, right? You want Legion and you want Gorr. But if you happen to hit Havoc, you're like, damn, that's not what I was here for. But I want one of the other two cards because I don't have them. But, I hit Havoc. Let's keep going, basically. But, yeah, I think a decent week because you want Gorr. And if you don't have Legion, you still want Legion because Legion is still in strong. It's still a good card in Marvel Snap. It does what it does well, and no other card does what it does. So,
right.
Agree with everyone about Gorr. Agree with Legion is really beautiful. I feel like, though, we've had a million Legion Spotlight. I feel like Legion has been one of the most featured cards in all of the Spotlights. And then Havoc, I really like the color in this Havoc. Like, I imagine, like, once it's, like, fully popped out as animated, it looks super cool. But, I mean, I don't really think there's a strong pull towards either of these cards right now. I mean, Legion is kind of, like, always a solid utility card, but I think his reign of terror that he had sort of, again, like, kind of this time last year, it felt like, is sort of
a few weeks ago.
Yeah. This tells me that they think Gorr is strong. Because like Legion is a pull, but not a huge pull, and he's a pretty available card. Havoc isn't, whether Flash is right or wrong about Havoc, a card I own, by the way, being a great card or not, it's not, reputation isn't that. And it's also not a character that people are like, oh yeah, I just got Marvel Snap and I really want this Alex Summers card. So I think this is saying that Gorr, both I think the character and the game text itself, is supposed to sell these spotlight caches. So that, again, they at the very least, Second Dinner thinks that this card is good. So
I just realized that I don't have Legion at all.
There you go.
So I'm going to have to use a lot of keys this month.
Legion is Series 4, though, which is worth remembering. Like, Legion and Havoc are both Series 4 cards. So if you're trying to maximize that value that way, you can get it for tokens for cheaper than you could other cards. I don't think Legion's great right now, but I like Legion a lot. Like, Legion's a card that makes me happy. Legion is one of those, like, Legion is one of those cards that where Roy said, when I disagree with the community, I'm either super right or super wrong. Everyone hated Legion, and I love Legion, and so like being right about Legion will always make it warm to me. I also think Legion is like, he doesn't have the most variants, but every Legion variant is freaking incredible. Like, it's a great hip. The Bowie one is great. The one where, like, the blue one where he's got the multiple, like, versions of him is phenomenal. Legion just has incredible variants. This is yet another one. I've been trying for a gold Legion forever, so hopefully that'll happen soon. Thank you, Splitmiss. And then, I think this Havoc is ugly. His power looks like he's blowing bubbles here, and I don't think that's Havoc's power. So I don't really like it, but that's fine. My big hot take is someone took some, like, whoever created Gorr was like, what happens if we just like really made Drizzt Do'Urden's designs look really, really ugly? And yeah, I hate Gorr's design. I think it's absolutely terrible. And like, I don't think there's going to be a good Gorr variant because I think Gorr is a poorly designed character. That's what I got.
All right. Let's move into our last card of the month, which is full of questions about how we're going to acquire him. It seems that we're going to acquire him for Deadpool's Diner. This is not 100% confirmed, but it seems likely.
No, I think it is.
Is it?
It's just we don't know what series and
what series,
therefore what tokens.
What tokens?
That I could find. I can look again. I'll look again while you guys do this.
I feel like they said series 4, but I could be wrong.
I don't think they said it. I think everyone assumed it.
Okay.
King Eitri, played by Peter Dinklage in Affinity War, is a 1/2 with the activate, draw a card that didn't start in your deck. Flash?
I'm very excited for this card because I'm a big fan of Thanos. New Thanos specifically because I like the focus on Thanos being important and not the stones specifically, right? This card goes in 3 decks. Like, if we're being 100% honest, right? It goes in Thanos, it goes with the hammer stuff, the Thor's deck, and it goes in arishem. It really doesn't go anywhere else if we're being 100% honest. And that's okay. It doesn't have to be a world's beater. But for me, I like the fact that this could be another piece that brings a little bit of consistency to the Thanos deck, which is one of the things that's missing from being like, just that next level of punch. Because again, you're focusing on Thanos above all else there. It's a good backup plan for the Thor's deck, right? If you don't hit Jane, you're like, I can at least get one of these hammers, right? And you're not completely out, up the creek. And unfortunately, it's just gonna go in arishem. You're just like, I don't care what the card is. Here we go. Just draw something. They're appreciate it. And they're just gonna keep doing what they do. So, yeah.
Kiddly?
I'm excited for this one. Actually, not for arishem, as a very big arishem enjoyer, but I think I want to throw this into Lockjaw to get a hammer and not have to use Jane Foster all the time. So I think that one would be fun because it's Lockjaw food. It's little, but I've never actually played with Thanos. I guess that one could also be fun. But I guess the first thing that comes to mind is really just like all those hammers, especially because he's hammering a hammer anyway, or whatever that is he's hammering.
Yeah, no, he's hammering a hammer. He's making one of the hammers. Oh no, that's the axe, right? Based on the shape. Yeah. Thor, famous for having an axe.
Stormbreaker.
All right.
I mean, he is now famous for having an axe and having a hammer. Like, come on, Glazer.
Sure. I mean, I guess. Classic mythological Thor, however.
Okay. Sure. Anyway, not that Thor, Odin's son in the comics or the movies has anything to do really with classic Thor. But anyway, I agree with Kidly that I'm most excited about this in, yes, all Thors. The deck, the redundancy of Jane. Like, Jane is a super awkward card that you like really want at a certain time, and if you don't have her at that certain time, it can be a little frustrating. So having access to one that sort of can really help you, whether you're playing Lockjaw or not Lockjaw, is super cool. And then the sort of fringe cases of it being a slower Mind Stone and whatever you want to do in arishem with this, fine. This card is good. I think it's a good card to have in Deadpool's Diner because it's interesting and people who want the card would want it. But if you really miss out on it, similar to like Agony, you are not like really going to be crying yourself to sleep every night. Unlike Cassandra Nova, where when she came out, like people, myself included, like really wanted that card. And if you're not enjoying Deadpool's Diner, it's absolutely miserable to try to get her. And this is much, I think, a better power level of a card. Interesting, compelling in certain ways, but not so like this is the new meta intervention tech card that you need to compete with the big bad of the metagame. So I think it's a big success.
It's much more narrow.
Much narrow, yeah.
Unless the deck becomes Shang-Chi and Surtur, and the trick is that you use your Thor hammers to get around Shang-Chi, so Fenris Wolf doesn't do anything. And then you can double trigger your hammers to get bigger than the Surtur deck. Mind blown. I know. I think this is a really good Thor's card, and it's fine in a few other places. I don't think this is an interesting card, but it is cool. I'm pissed that they're giving us another card that they have no variants for. That's basically my whole take. Like, where the fuck are the Eitri variants? What are we doing here? Like, do you want my money or do you not want my money? That's all I'm saying. Like, I'm saying I'll give you my money, and you're like, no, I don't want your money. You can't have variants. Well, I mean, like...
Well, there's some Cassandra Nova variants now, right, in the shop?
There is one.
There's
no,
one.
Two.
Yeah.
Two.
All right, because I've definitely seen a couple.
Mm-hmm. But there was one that you could get from the diner. As far as we know, as far as data mines tell us, there is no such thing for King Eitri.
Wait, so are they doing like less levels on the diner?
I would guess.
What's the top prize?
That's a damn
I would
question.
guess they're doing something like they did with that Iron Man variant. That's the top variant for whatever that thing is called, high voltage.
Like where so like it's a totally different variant.
Yeah, they have a bunch of variants that they put in the game marked as promo. I don't actually know how to search that on any of the sites, but there's a whole bunch marked as promo that we don't know what they're promoing. Sometimes those are Twitch drops. Sometimes those are like high voltage, right? Like sometimes they give them to us when they randomly break the game for a while. So my guess is that that's how that works. I mean, like, I don't know for sure, but that's just my immediate guess.
I do like that it's not like if you miss this Deadpool's Diner, or if you're too busy with the holidays that you can't really spend as many hours grinding it out, it's not something that you need a lot. Yeah. So it's like a holiday Deadpool's Diner, which is exactly I think what they were going for. But I like that it's lower stakes.
Agreed. Also, let's see if they learned any lessons and Deadpool Diner is better this time. I think that's going to be exciting, right? Like, did you learn that people are fine grinding, but you should probably chill with that a little bit? Or are you going to be like, grind for Eitri? All right. Any final thoughts on the month's cards?
All right, let's move to our final segment of this episode and every other episode, Variants of the Week. This week we picked everybody's favorite enabled by Soda Can Man, Scar, everyone's favorite 611. So we've got 3 different variants this week. So on the left we have Scar in a diaper. I don't know what exactly, I don't know. Who picked the Scar on the left here?
Okay, that's not a diaper, I would say.
It's
tattered
loincloth.
Okay,
loincloth.
Tattered.
It's a diaper. It's okay. We know your kink. It's fine.
Loincloth, sir.
How do you know Orca's not my favorite 611, Roy?
That's fair. Sorry for the Orca erasure I just committed.
But I did pick this one. It was actually close between this one and the other Ron Garney Spotlight, which is the one over there on the right, which I didn't realize that they let him do both artwork for the first two Spotlight variants, which is like, oh, okay, that's fun. And he managed to have two completely different tones, which I think is a very unique thing for an artist to do. It's very nice. Like I said, I like the one with the axe and the darkness. It's great. But I think this the one here on the left is just giving more animation. It's more animated. It's more, vibrant. This is why I went with that one. It's the one I'm currently using in game. So.
And Flash really likes diapers.
Well, loincloth. I love loincloth.
Oh,
tattered threads.
Okay.
Well, the next one on the right over here, which is also Ron Garney, the loincloth is more visibly a loincloth in this one. So who picked this art over here on the right?
I picked that one. I liked how brooding he was, but I also liked how it just gave big emo kid energy. Like, you could imagine, Mom, I don't want to shovel the snow, but I'll go do it. But I like it a lot. It's cute. It's also striking because it's so dark, whereas you have all these other really colorful cards. I would want that one, and I would want to put finally that black matte border that I have sitting in my inventory on it after I make it look pretty and all that. But I feel like it's rare that we get kind of like dark cards. Although I do love the colorful ones. But yeah, it just looked unique.
I also really like the rain effect when you animate cards in Marvel Snap. I think they did a great job with it. So like whenever you do a rain effect on a card, it makes me really happy.
Completely fair.
Agreed.
The middle is Dan Hip. Glazer, why Dan Hip?
Hips don't lie.
You're completely correct. We both picked the same one. I think it's a good Dan Hip. I think it captures the character, uses the art style well, and it's hard to complain.
It is. That's one of my favorite Dan Hips, actually. It's very good.
It's one of my favorite Dan Hips, too. Much like all Dan Hips.
They're all created equal. All right. So, as we wrap up this episode, it is Grandmaster Flash here. GamingwithFlashX here. All right. What is going on with your stream? Where can our loyal listeners and loyal viewers become your loyal listeners and loyal viewers? So, Flash, what would folks find if they engaged with your content?
And as I said before, and will always be true, honesty and transparency and good vibes, right? Because that's what you get when you hang out with me. I will help anybody that wants help. It's a safe place. It's a safe mental place for people to come and vibe out and hang out and have a good time. And we just do a lot of fun things. We play a crap ton of Marvel Snap, but I do a lot of other things also. I'm big into the retro gaming scene, right? So we do a lot of that whenever we can. And a big fan of the beat 'em ups. We got the new Power Rangers coming out next month, so can't wait for that. That's going to be an amazing time, right? December 10th. It's just what I do. We vibe out, and generally most of my days have a theme based around music, whether it be the throwback stuff or the Freaky Friday vibes or Soca Saturdays, and just it's always something going on. It's always a good time, and I just love creating a space where people can come and hang out, and they don't have to worry about people down talking them or being shunned or just
What if I'm in chat? Then they definitely have to worry about that.
That's different. That's a whole different but it is what it is. It's vibes. I just love when people come and hang out. Oh man, this place it's dope. It feels nice here. I was like, yes, it is nice here. Just hang out. It's cool. Don't worry about it. I'm not gonna berate you. I'm not gonna hound you down for subs or just vibe out. Just have a good time.
I mean, you should sub or follow Flash at the very least.
Follow, please. Yes.
No, he's delightfully fun. He's super fun, super chatty. You have a great time. You have to remind him to play Marvel Snap because he'll forget. Look, my stream, I try to play as little Snap as possible, as a matter of course. So, But Flash is delightful. He's one of my favorite streamers in the game. I think he should be huge in this community and huge in streaming. I say this every time he's on. He's absolutely incredible. He's one of my favorite people in the community. If he ever streamed before fucking midnight, I'd be in his stream all the time. But he is absolutely a delightful human being. Please, please, please go follow my friend, GamingwithFlashX.
Much appreciated, sir. Thank you. Kind words indeed.
All right, Kidly, if this is your turn to tell our loyal listeners and loyal viewers what they would find if they tuned into your stream, what your content is like. It's just all around what you've got going on in everything that you do.
Yeah. So I stream mostly on weekday afternoons. A lot of Marvel Snap, but also a lot of variety. So every Friday I do, well, right now I'm doing Kingdom Hearts on Fridays. Before that, it was Baldur's Gate for the entire past year. Finally finished that one. But I stream Snap mostly, also Pokemon now, Neopets from time to time, and then Kingdom Hearts on Fridays. And my streams are interactive. I encourage backseating, so please help me become a better player. Help me with Kingdom Hearts especially, or else I'll be on the same level for the next year. But I really enjoy interacting with chat. I am not a very technical player, so advice is always welcome. Chat carries a lot. But I enjoy it. I think it's nice. The community is just so good in Marvel Snap. Everyone is so welcoming. I love it. And I like being a part of it. So I guess my Twitch vibes are just to hang out, have a good time. Not competitive. Nothing's too serious. As long as we're all having fun. And then Fridays for variety.
So I've got you lie so hard. So I've been in Kidley's chat plenty.
About what?
You're good at you're really good at Marvel Snap. I hate when like anyone who's not like Incisor and KM Best is like, I'm not actually good at this game. You're really good at Marvel Snap. I've watched you. I've watched a lot of people play Marvel Snap. I play an insane amount of Marvel Snap. You're really good at this game. Stop, it's bullshit that you're not good. You can claim that all you want. I've watched you. I hate literally everyone who comes on here, but the top 50 streamers are like, I'm just not that good at the game. I'm like, what are you kidding me? I watched you don't play 17 hours a day and you don't have all the cards and you're really, really good at this game. Those things are not mutually exclusive. But everyone should follow Kidly for the very simple reason that I don't think I've ever laughed harder and more consistently than this episode. She's genuinely hilarious and a great time to hang out with. And that's what you get on the stream. You get to hang out with her. And it's just genuine. It's fantastic. she will make you laugh. You will watch and you will laugh. If you laugh during this episode, go follow her now. Twitch.tv/KiddilyChan. Because you're gonna get really good Marvel Snap. Don't listen to her when she's like, chat's carrying, and she's like already made the move and pressed end turn, and then chat says you should do this, and she's like, oh, great idea, but it's the idea she already had. But she's also going to be one of the most entertaining streamers you could ever watch. Go check it out. Although I don't know if I'm watching Kingdom Hearts. I really did enjoy a lot of the Baldur's Gate.
How could you not?
Thank you.
Great game.
So if you do Kingdom Hearts 2, I'm in. Kingdom Hearts 1 is not a good game. Sorry.
Oh, it's just dated.
It is definitely dated.
It was dated when it came out.
Woo! Spicy.
So funny thing, I threw up the first stream of Kingdom Hearts.
What?
I hit the ad break so I could go run to the bathroom and throw up because I got so motion sick.
Damn.
Oh no! Yeah.
Then maybe she should not play 2. So
well, no, 2 is like a real game. 1 is just really weirdly designed for a lot of reasons.
That's a hot take.
I have it modded now, so the field of view or whatever is bigger.
Okay, good.
The camera is a little more stable. I have 2 mods on it now, so it should be better, but yeah, I get motion sick.
So I try to play Kingdom Hearts 1 with my wife every so often because it should be a game that we'd really love to play together. And we always got 3 hours in and we're like, what are we doing? This is
defeating Heartless. That's what you're doing, bro. You're defeating Heartless.
We are defeating Heartless. But if you've got a big heart, go follow both of our guests today.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Transitions.
What keeps me from descending to be a heartless is that each and every week I get to listen to Glazer read as fast as possible in as few breaths as possible all of our patrons. So real quick, let me talk about the patron here. Our patron is patreon.com/snapjudgments. Really helpful for you to support, because remember, unlike so many other patrons, ours is a reverse pyramid scheme. It's an excuse for Aaron to pour more money into the community. Why? Because he has a small child and a wonderful wife and a rent and a car payment and all these things. And the way he continues to bust the Glazer family budget every month is through your Patreon support. So this is how he's able to convince his awesome wife to allow him to spend money on season pass giveaways and Snap Judgments leagues and whatever other nonsense he's pouring money into. And that is thanks to your support. So one of the tiers of support is
me reading all these names really fast. Also, that was a little too real and hurt. Thank you to Abigail Giesel, Mentor Burnett, Irregardless, Dave Doomfield, Dirty Casual, LAB, FaThorNewman, Good Dog Gamer, Inc., I'm Frostman, Jane Everett, Thinking Poker, Brian Burke, Ryan Wood, Caretix League, Corey, Black Dahlia, Pyrofrost, The Goat Seeker, Archangel 3K, Hollow, Quid Pro, Joe Fat Nick, Mr. Kerfuffle, Ginger Prime, Philip Brakovich, Haplo, Kenny Loggins of the Danger, Rob Silverman, The Biz, Black Jeebus, 23, X4D, and Skippy G, Jessica Gamble, Tommy Nyquist, King of Bros, Great Kazoo, Kev Hoda, Ludacris, Corwin, John Q, Jim McHugh, Clam, Ace Sage, Models, Monster Supreme, Green Goblin, Unibot, Flan, Steven, Brian Kaufman, Tristan Martin, Jason B, The Fuzzy Lot, Spectrum X, Hoot, Matt H, DJ Mike Hijinks, No Flex, Ocularis, Craig Sterry, PG, Zodrex, The King of Canada, Denman Falcon, Spike Jones, Two Ties, The Great Lourdes, The Parrot King Tuccrr, and of course, Gunny T, where the T stands for. I changed the order of my names and I messed up like 3 times because I know what names are supposed to come next and they didn't come next. And I was like, but that name's up there now.
Well, that's also because the support keeps growing.
Well, 2 of the people are partners, so I moved them next to each other, and then I tried to move all the K's next to each other, all the Q's next to each other, and but they're still in my head where they used to be when I go really fast.
That's what you get, Glazer, for fucking with a good thing. That's all I'm gonna say right there. Just messing with a good thing. But you know what doesn't mess with a good thing? That we get to have awesome guests each and every week. And I want to say, Kidly, thank you so much for being on the show for the first time. You're always welcome back. You were an amazing guest, and we're really happy to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
Come back soon.
Come back soon. Flash, who is back soon, we are so happy to have you back on the show again. I've enjoyed every episode that we've done together. You're an awesome guest, an awesome person, and we're happy to have you back.
I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for having me, as always, and for doing the things that y'all do all the time, every week. And Kidly, nice to actually speak to you and meet you. It's fantastic, other than you just popping in. It's great.
All right, Glazer. The joy of my week in this difficult, hot, third circle of hell week here on the East Coast. It brings me joy, truly, that I get to do this show with you each and every week.
Peace and love, everybody.
All right, friends, that brings us to the end of the 101st. Wow, again, I'm still not entirely wrapped my mind around the fact we've done 101 of these, but we have, and this is the end of this one. So until next week, stay safe, make good choices, and keep on Snap